Investigations are currently underway into the cause of a blaze that tore through a Richards Bay factory yesterday. The fire at the NCT wood chip mill spread to the conveyor belt system, which intensified the situation. Now, authorities say high temperatures and winds make it quite difficult to battle the fire. No deaths or injuries have been reported. eNCA senior reporter Dasen Thathiah is in Richards Bay, though, and joins us now for the very latest around the story. Dasen, a very warm good morning to you. Colleague, what can you tell us about this blaze?
Tumelo, that blaze is still burning at the NCT wood chips mill. It's just behind me now, and in fact, as you drive into Richards Bay on the John Ross Highway, which is next to where I'm standing now, it's quite an incredible sight because most of this town looks like it's engulfed by this white or greyish smoke that seems to be emanating from the NCT factory. So this is a pile of wood chips that is still well alight. This fire started yesterday just after midday. That's when the first reports started coming through. And since then, the weather didn't do much to help the situation at all. Those that are in KZN will know that it was quite windy yesterday, but it was also very hot. I think temperatures went up to about 39 degrees at some point in Richards Bay where we are. So that made it an extremely difficult task for firefighters to work under. But eventually they did manage to contain the blaze. At some point last night there was also a threat of it affecting the nearby residences, which is not very far from where I'm standing now. But the good news is this morning, in a statement from the city of eNCA, that there is going to be no need for evacuation just yet, and that residents are able to remain at home. But to get more detail on exactly what transpired and what the firefighting efforts were like overnight, I'm now joined by Zlindile Masango, who's the head of Public Health and Emergency Services in the city of eNCA. Mr. Masango, I'm sure you are also very tired, like your peers that have been working on this particular incident. Maybe just let's start with what could have caused this. I understand that it had something to do with the conveyor belt.
Yes, we do suspect, thank you very much for the opportunity. We do suspect the conveyor belt in the area where it started from, but that is still subject for further investigation. We don't want to preempt that part, but obviously that's where it's more likely to have started from, looking at what actually happened on site.
This looks like it was this was really a difficult task for your teams on the ground. Talk to me about the resources that were used in order to get this place under control. At some point, there was a fear that it may affect the homes that are nearby.
Well, it's very true. We have a community run just up here, the Arboretum. That's an area that was really at risk yesterday, particularly in the evening, but we managed to control that. And in terms of controlling that, we have a number of we actually got support from different industries that are around here, as City of eNCA, because obviously we have to get support where there is a need. It's how we work in the area. And we managed to get most of the support from different industries in terms of getting more water assistance, because while we actually trying to deal with fire, we need to replenish water in those, and we don't have time to go and get water somewhere else. So different industries, different companies were actually on board to assist us, and I think it went very well in terms of assistance. We almost had about, in terms of the now fire engines, we had about 6, 7 from time to time coming in, working in those areas. So I think it worked well.
Mr. Masango, I think the immediate question that I think I'd have to ask you, just by looking at this, and you'd know more about this than I would, how harmful is the smoke that's coming out of the fire at the moment, especially to those that are around here?
It's not. Good thing about it is that it's just wood chip that is a problem, that is actually burning here. It's not necessarily any chemical. That was the worst scare that we had, that if should there be any further fire in other areas, would actually struggle. But the smoke is actually affecting people. It's just like when you're burning in your household, you're burning wood, or you have a braai. It's almost like that, but it's not as safe. Doesn't mean it's safe. And if you look at the wind direction currently, it's not necessarily going straight to the residential area, because the residential on the other side is going through the actual CBD. And we're hoping that the wind will not change so that so just to make sure we do not affect those communities there.
You also have other factories that are around us, and I mean, if you look at the proximity, it's not far from where we're standing now, especially if you're saying to me that this fire is still going to be burning for a while. What is the likelihood of that still posing a risk to other factories around here, especially if the wind does pick up?
Well, I think currently we do not have that risk. We have set teams around so that we contain it within the area where it is currently. In fact, we are not even thinking that it may actually have evacuate anyone from now onwards. The risk was actually yesterday, of which we managed to control. But we are compelled to control it here, because if we don't, then we will have major disasters here, because some of the industries here have got chemicals. So, and I think under the resources that we have currently and the system that we've put in place, I think we are fine. We are containing it properly.
Mr. Masango, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and thank you to your team as well for managing to contain that blaze. Tumelo, it looks like there is still some work to be done. As you heard, this is going to be going on for a while. As I look around me, there are, there are parts of the road that are blocked off to prevent traffic from driving down this way. Traffic is being diverted, and emergency teams still remained on standby.
We'll keep a close eye on the story with you as our eyes and ears, Dasen Thathiah, and thank you so much for bringing us this update so far. Hearing that no deaths, no injuries have been recorded, but it seems like the blaze will be, of course, going on for some time. Emergency services on the ground helping and assisting in, of course, curbing that blaze. It might take some time, but, of course, Dasen Thathiah, eNCA senior reporter, will keep us updated right here on eNCA.